Disclaimer: this story explores mature emotional themes and includes romantic content intended for adult audiences. It does not contain explicit material. Viewer discretion is advised. I never noticed her before. That sounds impossible now. We'd been co-workers for nearly 2 years, shared morning coffees, small talk in the elevator, occasional group lunches. She was always there. Always present. But somehow never really seen. Not by me, at least. I guess that's the thing about routine. It dulls the edges. Blurs the colors. You walk the same path so many times, you forget to look up. You miss the one person who could make everything feel new again. Her name's Maya. She works in the design department, just across from where I sit in marketing. We're both in our late 20s, navigating that weird space between who we thought we'd be and who we're becoming. I always knew she was quiet, kind, a little sarcastic when she let it slip. But that was it, surface-level impressions. I never really looked. Not until that one night. It was Jonah's birthday. Our loud, overly social team lead decided on drinks after work. A bunch of us went. I almost bailed, like I always do, but something tugged at me. Boredom, maybe. Or that itch of restlessness I couldn't shake for weeks. So I stayed. I drank, laughed, talked too much. And Maya, well, she sat next to me. She smelled like bergamot and cedar. Wore a navy blue sweater, soft-looking, sleeves slightly too long. Her fingers kept tugging at the cuffs like she was trying not to disappear into them. I remember noticing that first. We talked more than we ever had. Not about work. Not about the weather. Real things. Books she thought I'd like. Her dog's stupid name, Pickle, seriously? The reason she hates New Year's. She laughed at something I said, really laughed, head thrown back, hand on my arm, and something clicked in my chest like a switch I didn't know existed had just been flipped on. It wasn't a thunderclap. It was quiet. Dangerous. A slow awareness curling beneath my skin. I couldn't stop looking at her. Not because she was beautiful, though she is, but because I suddenly saw her differently. Like my brain had sharpened the image, adjusted the lighting, and now I couldn't unsee what had always been there. We stayed out late. Just the two of us by the end. I don't even remember what time it was when we left the bar, only that the streets were empty and the city felt softer somehow. She offered to split a cab, and when we reached my place, I hesitated before getting out. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. Lied. Yeah, just tired. But the truth? My heart was pounding. Not from fear. From possibility. I wanted to ask her in. I wanted her to want me to. But I froze. Too many questions. Too many years of assuming I had myself all figured out. She didn't press. Just gave me this look, part smile, part something I couldn't name. Then she said, "Good night, Claire," like it meant more than just goodbye. And I watched the cab drive off, realizing I was no longer the same person who got in it. I haven't been the same since. The next day at work, she acted like nothing had changed. But it had. I could feel it. And when she finally turned to look at me across the room, our eyes locked, for just a second too long, I knew she felt it too. I never noticed her before. But now, I can't stop. Something shifted after that night. Not just between us, but inside me. Before Maya, I lived a life that made sense on paper. I worked hard, kept my circle small, dated men who checked the right boxes, but left everything else blank. I told myself I was content. Stable. Normal. Whatever that meant. But after that cab ride, I started noticing things I used to miss. The way Maya's voice dropped when she was tired. The quiet confidence in how she pitched ideas during meetings. How she always chose the window seat in the break room, even if it meant sitting alone. She wasn't trying to stand out, but now I couldn't stop seeing her. And she knew it. She didn't say anything. We never addressed it. But the silence between us grew charged. It wasn't awkward, it was undeniable. Like a current running beneath everything we said, pulling us toward something neither of us wanted to name. We started gravitating toward each other more. Group lunches turned into just us grabbing Thai across the street. Project updates turned into long, unhurried conversations that had nothing to do with work. I found myself reaching for her opinion even when I didn't need it. She never offered more than necessary, but when she looked at me, it felt like she saw straight through the parts of me I hadn't shown anyone. One Thursday afternoon, the team got hit with a surprise deadline. Everyone stayed late, typing through yawns and caffeine crashes. Maya and I ended up working side by side in one of the empty conference rooms. Her laptop buzzed with notifications, but she barely looked at them. I could tell something was on her mind. Around 9 p.m., I finally asked, "You okay?" She didn't answer at first. Just stared at the spreadsheet, fingers still on the keyboard. Then, softly, "You ever feel like you're waiting for your life to start, but you're already halfway through it?" I blinked. It wasn't what I expected, but it was exactly how I'd been feeling. I nodded. All the time. She glanced at me, and for a second, I saw something raw flicker across her face. Vulnerability. Loneliness. Hope. But then she looked away, and the moment passed. I wanted to ask her what she meant. I didn't. Not then. I think we were both scared to open that door. Scared that once we did, there'd be no turning back. That night, she packed up early, said she had to walk her dog. I pretended I didn't care. But I watched her leave, wondering if she felt as exposed as I did. The next few days blurred. We kept our distance. I told myself I needed space, clarity, but it felt like withdrawal. Like I was missing something that hadn't even started. Then came the invite. An email. Company-wide. Friday rooftop mixer. Casual, optional. I was going to ignore it until I saw Maya's name on the RSVP list. So I replied, "Now it's Friday night." I'm standing in front of my mirror, questioning everything I've ever worn, everything I've ever wanted, and wondering if I'm about to do something brave or just completely lose my mind. Because I don't just want to see her tonight. I need to know if this thing between us is real. And if it is, what the hell we're supposed to do about it. I didn't expect to freeze the second I saw her. The rooftop was strung with fairy lights, soft music humming beneath the buzz of small talk and glasses clinking. But everything blurred the moment Maya turned toward me, wearing black jeans, a soft olive green shirt, and that same quiet confidence that knocked the air out of me. She smiled. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make my chest tighten. "Hey," she said, stepping closer. "Hey," I managed, hoping she couldn't hear the chaos in my head. We stood at the edge of the roof, a little removed from the crowd. It wasn't cold, but I couldn't stop fidgeting with my sleeves. Maya watched me for a beat, then offered her beer. "You look like you need this more than I do." I took it. Sipped. Too fast. "So," she said, leaning on the railing, "you RSVP'd. You noticed?" "Yeah," she said, almost a whisper. "I notice a lot. That should have been my moment, some romantic turning point." But then Jonah, our overly sociable team lead, slid in like a wrecking ball. "Claire," he said, too loud. "You gotta meet my friend Emma. She just transferred from the Chicago office, super into film like you." I blinked. "Film?" "Yeah. You mentioned that indie doc you were watching? Emma's a total nerd for that stuff. You two would hit it off." He turned, calling Emma over before I could say anything. I looked at Maya. Her expression had shifted, just a little. Eyes a bit guarded, jaw tight. Emma showed up. She was funny, nice, definitely cute. I tried to engage, force small talk while glancing at Maya, who had suddenly found her drink very interesting. After a few minutes, Maya said something to Jonah and slipped away. I tried not to notice. But I did. The night dragged. I kept half listening to conversations, waiting for another glimpse of her. Eventually, I found her inside, by the elevators. Alone. She didn't look surprised when I walked up. "You disappeared," I said. She shrugged. Didn't want to interrupt. "Emma seems cool." I hated how distant she sounded. It wasn't like that. She gave me a tired smile. "It's okay, Claire." "Really?" "No," I said, suddenly needing to make it right. "It's not okay. You can't just leave when things get uncomfortable." She met my eyes. "That's rich coming from you." I flinched. "What's that supposed to mean?" She stepped closer. I've been standing here, showing up quietly maybe, but I've been here. And you're scared of what this is. I get it. But don't put it on me. The elevator dinged behind us. Neither of us moved. I wanted to say something. Anything. But the words jammed in my throat. She sighed. I'm not asking you for everything, Claire. I'm just asking you to stop pretending this doesn't matter. And with that, she stepped into the elevator. The doors closed. I stood there, pulse thundering, stomach in knots. Because she was right. This wasn't just a crush. It wasn't passing curiosity. It was something. And if I didn't face it soon, I might lose the only person who ever made me feel like I wasn't sleepwalking through my life. 3 days. That's how long it had been since the rooftop. Since Maya walked into the elevator and didn't look back. I hadn't heard from her. No texts. No stolen glances at work. She switched out of our shared project without explanation. I told myself she was just busy, but I knew better. The silence was unbearable. I didn't want to admit how much I missed her. How every time my phone lit up, my chest tightened. How her absence turned the office into a gray blur I couldn't shake. I kept replaying her words over and over. I'm just asking you to stop pretending this doesn't matter. And the truth? I couldn't pretend anymore. So I did something reckless. I left work early and went to her place. It was raining. Fitting, really. I stood outside her apartment for a solid 10 minutes, questioning everything. But I knew if I turned around, I'd lose her for good. So I buzzed. When she opened the door, she looked surprised, but not shocked. Like maybe she'd been expecting this. She was in sweatpants and an oversized hoodie, no makeup, hair tied back. And somehow, she looked more beautiful than ever. I was soaked. Shaking. Can we talk? She stepped aside. Yeah. Inside, the lights were low. A candle flickered on the coffee table. Her dog, Pickle, barked once and then curled up on the couch like this happened all the time. We stood in her living room, neither of us knowing where to start. I'm sorry, I said. For everything. Maya crossed her arms. That's vague. I swallowed. I've been scared. Of what this could mean. Of wanting something I never let myself want before. She didn't say anything. I've been telling myself I'm straight my whole life. But you, my voice cracked. You make me question everything. And it's terrifying. Maya's eyes softened just slightly. Claire. I'm not trying to be your experiment. I know. You're not. You're not. I stepped closer. You're the first person who's ever made me feel seen. Like I'm not just existing. Silence. And then she laughed. Bitter and low. You don't get it, she said. You can walk away from this. Say it was a phase. Say it was confusion. I don't have that option. I froze. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is waiting around for someone who only wants me when no one else is watching. That's not what this is, I said, voice rising. I want you. And I'm not hiding it anymore. Her eyes searched mine, fierce and guarded. Then prove it. We stood inches apart. Everything I'd been avoiding, everything I was afraid to admit, it was all right there between us, demanding to be faced. I leaned in, barely breathing. Tell me you don't feel it too. Look me in the eye and tell me this isn't real. She didn't answer. But she didn't pull away either. I reached up, gently touched her cheek, and for one charged second, everything else disappeared. No fear. No rules. Just us. Then a knock at the door broke the silence. She froze. We both turned. Another knock, louder this time. Maya's jaw tightened. That's my ex. I blinked. What? She wasn't supposed to come tonight. She looked at me, torn. Claire, you need to go. My heart dropped. Are you serious? I don't want a scene. Footsteps outside. A voice slow, familiar. Maya, I know you're in there. And just like that, everything was on the edge again. The moment stretched, heavy and sharp. Maya didn't move. Neither did I. Another knock. Then the door handle jiggled, casually, like whoever was outside knew they had the right to walk in. Maya, the voice came again. Calm, but insistent. can we please talk? I looked at her. What is happening right now? She took a step back, like the distance might soften the truth. I didn't know she still had a key, she said quietly. We broke up months ago. It was messy. A jolt ran through me. And now she's just showing up? Maya's eyes didn't meet mine. She never took the breakup seriously. She always said we'd find our way back to each other. I thought she'd moved on. I stared at the door, my chest tight. Does she know about me? No, Maya said quickly. No one does. The silence between us turned cold. Everything she said on the rooftop, about me hiding, about her not wanting to be anyone's secret, suddenly rang louder. I thought you didn't want to be hidden, I said, barely above a whisper. I don't, she said. But this wasn't supposed to happen. The lock clicked. Before either of us could react, the door swung open. A woman stepped in, confident, composed. Tall, sharp-featured, dressed like she came straight from a gallery opening. She looked at me first, then at Maya. I knew it, she said flatly. Maya tensed. Tess held up a hand. You said you needed space. That you weren't ready. Meanwhile, you've been playing house with someone else. I'm not playing anything, Maya snapped. Oh, really? So who is this? Tess gestured at me like I was a stranger in a crime scene. Coworker? Or something more? I stepped forward. I think you should leave. Tess laughed. Of course you do. Maya moved between us. Tess, I asked you not to come. Yeah, Tess said, voice rising. And I asked you not to ghost me for 3 weeks after saying we needed to slow down, not implode everything. What happened to that, Maya? And that's when it hit me. The way Maya had avoided specifics. The timing. The sudden pullback after the rooftop. You weren't fully over her, I said. Were you? Maya froze. I wanted her to say no. To say it was just bad timing. Miscommunication. That she'd been waiting for me this whole time. But she didn't say anything. The silence said everything. Tess scoffed and grabbed the umbrella she'd dropped. Good luck, she muttered as she turned toward the door. You're going to need it. She left. The door closed. Maya stared at the floor like it held all the answers. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I believed you, I said. My voice shook. When you said you were ready. When you told me this meant something. It does mean something, she said, finally looking at me. But I can't undo who I was with her. And I can't lie, I'm still untangling that. My heart felt like it was folding in on itself. So what am I then? I asked. The next complication? She stepped closer. No. You're the first thing that's felt right in a long time. Then prove it. We stared at each other, the air between us fractured and raw. Because this time, love wasn't the question. It was whether the truth could survive it. I didn't move for a long time after Tess left. The door was shut, but the storm she dragged in still lingered. It clung to the air, to the silence between me and Maya. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But most of all, I just wanted her to say something that would make this mess make sense. Maya finally spoke, voice raw. I didn't lie to you, Claire. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said. Because you didn't choose. I didn't know I had to. You always had to, I said. You just didn't want to admit it. She ran a hand through her hair, pacing like the truth was chasing her. You think this is easy for me? You think I can just undo years with someone who was wrong for me, but still familiar? I'm not asking you to undo anything, I said. I'm asking you to be honest. With yourself. About what you want. She stopped moving. Just stood there. Then, I want you. I didn't let myself believe it. Because you're scared of being alone again? Or because it's real? She looked at me, tears finally forming. Because when I'm with you, I feel like I'm finally becoming the person I've been afraid to be. That nearly broke me. I took a step forward. Then another. We stood in the center of her living room, the rain tapping gently on the window behind us. Her eyes held mine, not running this time. Not hiding. I'm not perfect, I said. And I don't have this all figured out. But I know that when I walked away from you on that rooftop, it felt like losing something I hadn't even had the chance to keep yet. She gave the smallest laugh through her tears. I wanted to chase you. Then why didn't you? Because I thought you'd come back. And somehow, even after everything, Tess, the silence, the doubt, that made me want to fall into her arms and never let go. But I needed to be sure. If we do this, I said, we do it all in. No hiding. No one foot out the door. All in, she repeated, nodding slowly. I reached for her hand. She took it like it was instinct. The kiss that followed wasn't perfect. It wasn't fireworks or slow motion. It was shaky and soft and real. It tasted like rain and regret and hope all at once. It felt like everything we hadn't said, finally being spoken without words. When we pulled apart, I rested my forehead against hers. I'm scared, I whispered. She smiled. Me too. And just like that, it was enough. For now. But as we stood there, finally, together, a message lit up on her phone, still buzzing quietly on the table. From Tess. You forgot to tell her the whole truth. Maya saw it first. Her face changed. My stomach dropped. I pulled back. What truth? Her lips parted like she was about to explain, but the words never came. And the air turned sharp again. Because maybe we weren't done after all. I didn't speak right away. The phone on the table buzzed again, and all I could hear was the echo of Tess's message in my head. You forgot to tell her the whole truth. Maya stood frozen, her hand still holding mine, her mouth half open like she'd rehearsed the answer, but forgot the lines. What truth? I asked again, softer this time. She looked down, swallowed hard. I didn't cheat on you. I need you to know that first. I nodded once. Okay. But I wasn't honest about why I walked away from Tess. I waited. She sighed. When we broke up, it wasn't just about us not working. I'd met someone. It wasn't serious. Barely anything happened. But it was enough to make Tess feel betrayed. I told her it was over, and I meant it, but I never told her why. And that someone wasn't me? She shook her head. No. It was someone I met right before I transferred to our office. It fizzled out. But the way things ended with Tess, messy, unfinished, I think that's why she showed up like that. I let it sink in. She didn't lie. But she had left things undone, ghosts still haunting her new beginning. That's not about us, I said finally. It's not, she agreed. But it affects us. And I should have told you. I nodded again. The anger I thought I'd feel wasn't there. I felt disappointed, sure. But mostly I felt relief. Because now, there was nothing left in the dark. So, I said, stepping back. What happens now? She walked over to the phone, picked it up, and blocked the number. Then she turned to me. Now, I show up. For you. For this. No more fear. No more past. And somehow, that was the moment I believed her. Not because she said the right thing, but because she did the hard thing. We didn't need a perfect love story. We needed a real one. So we took it one step at a time. We told our friends. We went to dinners together, no hiding. We argued sometimes. We laughed more. We forgave what needed forgiving. Maya started painting again. I started sleeping better. And on a random Tuesday night, a year after that rooftop moment, we ended up back there, blankets, wine, a Bluetooth speaker playing our old playlists. She leaned over and kissed my shoulder. Thank you, she whispered. For coming back. For staying. I smiled at her. You gave me a reason to. We didn't say the word forever. We didn't need to. We just kept choosing each other, day after day. And that was enough. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read them all.